You're on, hon.
Okay, I am Linda Deer, and this guy right here, juggling all the plates.
Yeah, is the assistant junior vice president here at lindadeer.com, assisting Linda in anything she needs assistance with.
He is the best. Thank God for Ray Hawley. Okay, I mean that. And thank you guys for coming to see us. And we're here every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. We're always so happy to be here with you guys here on Tuesdays.
And thanks for the wonderful comments, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah, we had some really interesting ones today. Um, Welcome to episode number 278 of Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, a weekly gift of guidance from my spirit guides on navigating the uncertain world that you are now living in. Published every Tuesday since 2014. You can get Linda's Weekly Guided Insights by going to my website, and you'll see Linda's Weekly Guided Insights right there at the top, on the right, on the bottom. You can't miss them, okay? And they're free. They're priceless, okay?
They're priceless. They're not free, they're priceless.
Yeah.
Christine Selberg.
Oh, I turned that off.
Well, it looks like somebody's calling us, huh, Ray?
Yeah, well, we'll have to get rid of that.
Okay, there we go. Okay, Ray's taking care of the back end here. Okay, Ray.
There's nobody more important than our fans.
That's right. Okay, so tonight the guides will be talking about tragedies and setbacks. The takeaway from this week's episode is you will know how to limit your exposure to tragedies and setbacks. Now, all I do is, this is the insight for this week. All I do is I read a few excerpts out of it. So you guys really do want to get the entire insight, and it will include the video that we do each week right now on these insights the next day after we're done. So you can read the insight and watch the video, okay? Okay, so tragedy has been in the news a lot lately. Where are you right now in the sum of all your past decisions? One thing people tend to not give enough attention to is where they choose to live with regard to tragedies and setbacks. Many times that choice is governed by where the family members live. On the other hand, maybe you didn't want to be, on the other hand, maybe you didn't want to live in that geographic area, or you wanted to get away from those family members altogether. That would describe me. Actually, that would describe Ray.
Me too.
No wonder we're together.
You
Birds of a feather flock together.
You left California, and I came out looking for you to California.
He did, but he got married in between on the way. You know, he had a little side
road, little side trip there.
Okay, the point is, you have more choices than you may think, and that's true with everybody. You're not locked in. You're not blocked in. You're not a prisoner of your situation. You might think you are, but it's not true. So rather than suffering and blaming others when a tragedy or setback hits, be prepared for the consequences of that first decision you made when you decided to move there or stay there. Sometimes we're somewhere other than where we grew up, but it's not working out, or it used to work out, and it's not working out anymore. Here's an example of that. Since this whole thing happened in 2020, still happening, okay? It's really caused a division between people, where people are opinionated. They argue. They want you to be like them, and if you're not, then you're ostracized, or you're condemned, or you're criticized, or you're it's just so many things. So then you start to think, this used to work out for me. I used to like it here. But since this thing happened in 2020 and where we are right now today, and the division between people it's causing, and people have changed. The people that you used to hang out with or you used to like may not be in alignment with you any longer. Okay? There's a lot of that. And people are moving for reasons like that. We have a few emails, fan base emails we got today that we're going to read to you that kind of explain that a little bit better. All right. Right from the fan base themselves. Okay. So, Ray, do you want to take over?
Sure. All right. Well, first on the list today of emails, these were great, by the way, is our friend Larry.
Yeah.
We've known Larry, what, 15 years or more?
Yeah, we have, Ray.
And
Yeah, since he moved to up to Sedona.
Right.
Yeah, he just moved to Tucson from Sedona. So, yeah.
And that's, yeah, he did the first review on your book.
He did. Larry was very moved by my flagship book, Guided.
All right. So Larry says, hope all is well. Hope all is love and light in our lives. Let me check on that. Everything love and light in
It
our lives?
is,
Yeah.
Ray.
Yep. Okay. Next. I'm so pleased to see the steady stream of what I call your weekly posts, your wisdom posts. Yeah, they are like wisdom posts.
He's talking about Linda's weekly guided insights.
Right.
Yeah.
They are all so relevant to our lives, expanding in perspective, deepening in insight, and stimulating to the imagination, and profoundly true.
Yeah.
I couldn't have said that better.
He's an amazing writer.
He is.
He expresses himself really well.
Yep. Maybe that's because he was a college professor.
A PhD and all
Yeah,
those things.
he
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Telling you, Ray.
All right. I applaud the clarity, creativity, consistency of your sharings. But then your guides are always helping you.
We do have a leg up on that one.
We do.
And you guys can have it too.
Yep.
In fact, I'm going to announce something at the end of this session tonight where you can actually learn how to do this like we do. Okay?
All right.
Thank you for that, Larry.
Yep. And Larry recently moved.
Yeah, you know what? Before you move on to that one, let's give Larry, let's let the guides, since he says we have the advantage of the guides, and we certainly do. In fact, I don't know what I'd do without having the guides by my side. How about you, Ray?
They are always around me, sometimes playing little tricks like
Well,
they did this week.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they're not really tricking you.
They're tricksters.
No, they're not. They're teachers.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you have to say to Larry? Larry just moved down to Tucson. And Larry, I think you're probably either watching this live right now or you're going to watch it in the replay. What do you have to tell Larry about his new adventure? Moving after 16 years of living in Sedona.
Long time.
Wow.
What you must remember on your path is to keep going. Don't give up. You were at a point where you saw the end of your path in Sedona. You were active in the community and well liked, but something was missing. You could call it wanderlust or just desiring something new to look at when you wake up each day. Whatever your motivation was to live in Tucson, we see that you are far happier than you imagined you'd be. It takes a new place, new geography, new people, and new things to explore sometimes in order to get back on your path.
There you go, Larry. There you go, Larry. Good move, Larry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got a beautiful view from his place.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we have next? We have one more,
We
right?
have another question about tragedies and setbacks from Marie in California. It's a long question, so it's in several parts.
She wrote it really well, though. It's
She
really
did.
good.
She's a good writer, too.
Yeah, she's great.
Here's my question for the show. Our show, the Ray and Linda Show.
That's it for on Tuesday nights, you guys.
The current state of the world seems to have forced everyone on Earth into gambling with their health and their sanity on some level. According to the mainstream media and popular opinion, in my neck of the woods anyway, you are gambling if you don't get the vaccine shot and seen as seen and treated like a heretic or an idiot if you don't get it.
Hmm.
And for those who have serious reservations, we are all gambling with the destruction of human existence if we do take it either way. Both sides are left with unprecedented tasks of fear management each step of the way.
Wow.
So afraid if you don't get it and afraid if you do get it. That's what she's saying.
Or afraid if yes, exactly right, Ray.
Unprecedented
Right.
before. Unprecedented. Never been like that before.
Absolutely
Okay.
true. That ties right into the tragedies and setbacks.
Right. Regardless of which side that you lean to, and with the future in such an unknown state, your sanity and your immune system take a hit regardless.
True. So true.
Yeah, like you said, you're gambling with either way you go.
We're in it, you guys.
Right. All right. Up to this point, almost everyone in my life, my family, my clients, my coworkers, and even my most intelligent and well-educated friends, some of them who are deeply spiritual and intuitive, or claim to be, have now all gone the way of getting the vaccines. The pressure to follow suit
The pressure.
has never been greater on me, and unfortunately, I sense that it's actually just the beginning. So here's the question.
And we're going to let the guides talk to her about this whole thing
Yeah.
once Ray's finished reading this. So hang in there. This is going to be interesting.
So here's the question.
Yeah.
With these two distinct choices being laid before humanity on such a massive scale, global, are we all destined to be forced to choose and make to deal with the consequences of one path filled with setbacks and tragedies, or another, no matter which way we go? If so, how do we navigate and ultimately transcend such an obvious trap?
Marie, so well said. I have chills. I mean, so well said. Okay. Okay, so we're just going to let the guides answer her on this well-defined dilemma, really. About
Trap. It's a trap.
it's a trap. Yeah. Okay, and here they go.
Marie, you are correct. It seems like everyone in the world is being forced to make a critical, life changing decision. According to the mainstream news and people's opinions, you are gambling if you don't get the shot. They truly believe that they are right, and if you don't get it, you are going to make them sick. They're not concerned about your health. There are two fears going on here. unprecedented fear of consequences, no matter what you do, and the pressure of fear of judgment from your friends and family if you don't. You really are gambling with unprecedented outcomes. You are right, especially if almost everyone around you has gone one way and you went the other way. They certainly want you to be like them, like you always have. They don't want to have to ostracize you from the circle of friends just because you have a different opinion, but they will. The pressure to follow the crowd has never been stronger. Unfortunately, you're right. This is just the beginning, and the pressure will get more intense as more people rebel. Now, when you look at the two choices in front of you, you have to look back at your past. There's a similar situation that has gone on for decades. In the past, did you get a flu shot every year like it was recommended to do? It was not forced upon you, it was recommended. Yes or no? It was a choice without pressure. What you did in this situation is exercised your free will. I can do this and get a shot, or not get a shot. You even may have gotten the flu a few times, but it was over shortly. What's different now is that pressure, intense pressure, is coming from one side. You have to consider when you make your decision that if what they were pressuring you to do was safe, they wouldn't need pressure. People would just weigh the facts, make a decision, and get the shot. Now, remember that every decision you've ever made had consequences. They were not always good consequences. They may be both less desirable consequences, but you made a free will decision every time.
It was your choice.
Right.
It's still your choice.
The fear lies in that people are afraid of non FDA approved substances being injected into their body. These substances are not vaccines. A vaccine takes 5 to 10 years to develop, fully go through several rounds of testing before it's FDA approved for humans. This is a big what if when people decide to take the shot or not. Many don't give it any thought and just let the television decide for them. The lie, the questions everyone that doesn't want to take the shot lie in the fact what the shot is called. We want you to look back to when you were young. You were pressured not to experiment with drugs. What did you do? Some people did experiment, others never did. That's free will. Now, over the last year, you are being pressured to experiment with experimental drugs.
And that would be the vaccine.
That would be the substance. It's not a vaccine.
Right. It's not a vaccine. Right. That's right, Ray. That's right.
It's called a vaccine.
Yeah. It's really, really, really extraordinary what's been going on. Very off track. I mean, out of bounds, really. Okay. So what the guides are talking about here about tragedies and setbacks. And you said, Marie, you said that this doesn't feel like it feels like this is just the beginning. Is that how she worded that?
Yeah, that's going to, unfortunately, we're actually at the beginning of it.
Okay. And that's what the guides agreed with you on. Okay. So anything that like what the guides were talking about it being 5 to 10 years before any vaccine is really tested and proven that it's worthwhile, that it won't hurt you, that it actually works, that it's a vaccine for a virus that they've identified. This virus has never been identified. Is it a virus? We don't even know. I mean, based on what they're telling everybody, they want you to believe it is. All right. So and then this vaccine that comes up within a year. I mean, it's just outrageous. So yeah. So as far as all the questions that go with it, I always say sleep on it. Okay. In other words, pause. And I'll tell you what the best recommendation I have for all of you about this. Start writing in your journal about what's going on in and around you so that you can begin to get it out of here, lay it on the pages so you can see it out here instead of having it eat you up from the inside out. Get it out of here and deposit it, pour it onto the pages. You can't see it when you're in it. You absolutely won't be able to make sense of it. And what will make sense if you spend just 15 minutes a day having this conversation with yourself. By the way, you're not alone. Your guides are with you when you take that moment to focus. 15 minutes a day, quiet, no phone ringing, nobody in the house, or get in the car and drive down the street so you can be quiet while you're writing pouring your heart out onto these pages so you can see what's going on in here and you can make the absolute best decisions. You can't make it, you guys, if you can't see it out here. If you just keep holding it onto it in here, it festers. It doesn't come to anything that makes sense. It doesn't give you a conclusion. It festers. You've got to start writing it down. I wrote these books. These are the companion journals to Guided. I wrote them on purpose. I don't just write books to write books. I write books that make a difference. These books make a difference. If you haven't read Guided first, this is critical to read first, my flagship book, Guided. And then these journals will make total sense to you. Okay.
Yeah, here's what compounds the problem. Okay,
Yeah.
if you look back 6-7 months ago, when the vaccines were just being talked about, they'll be out soon, and then it came out and people started trying them. Then people started having problems with them, blood clots, dying, severe diseases that they don't even never had a name for.
And they're still getting the virus, and even though they got the shot.
Right, and
now there's all these other, offshoots of the so-called virus. We don't even know what the heck it is yet. I mean, no one's really identified it yet. No one has identified it yet.
Yeah.
Yet it's moved to this point. You do have to ask yourself, you have to write it on the pages so you can begin to make sense of what's going on. Okay.
And it seems to be that the more people who have difficulties after they got the shot, the more the pressure builds towards everybody needs to get the shot. Oh, that was just, they kind of poo-poo it. Oh, that was just, no, he had something else and he died from something else. And or how many doctors now and nurses are refusing to get the shot? They see what's going on.
Yeah. So there's a lot of questions around this. Okay. And you're certainly not the only one, but where you're living, where you're in California, where that, and everybody's falling into suit, it really does put you in a tough situation to be able to live around that. Okay. That's a tough way to go. Let's see what the guides have to say specifically. Speak to that, where you used to be around like-minded people, but they don't seem so like-minded right now. How does she deal with that?
She should tell them that she's open to getting the shot, but wants to observe them for the next 2 years.
You know what? That's exactly the way I look at it. Okay. Because it's not proven. It's not even the virus hasn't even been identified. So I want to watch what goes on out there. And then but then the argument is, you could get sick in the meantime. You could die. Well, yeah, I could get hit by a concrete truck too. I mean, I'm not worried about that. Okay. There's all this fear. The biggest point, in my opinion, Marie, that you made is it's fear that's really selling all this. Fear has never been more intensely promoted than right now. So you guys, you got to start writing it down. You won't see it you cannot see it when you're in it. You're in it. It's like you're a prisoner of it. So put it on the pages so you can begin to see objectively, have a perspective out there about what this really is.
And do your research too.
Yeah.
You just can't go with what you hear on the mainstream news, what's going on. You have to know what's going on in your community and in the states that have gotten rid of the lockdowns and everything is fine. And what are they doing here? We just heard on the news last night there's a whole school here
that's protesting.
All the students refuse to wear masks,
right?
And their parents are behind them,
right?
And what does it say on their T-shirts they're wearing?
It says, "You're being lied to."
Right.
Yeah. So it's the pushback's beginning to happen. All right. Honestly, it hasn't really taken that long for that starting to show up. So here's what we did: a webinar in November of 2020. And in the webinar, they told people, I'll give you guys a little piece of it. You can still buy the webinar. It's on our website. Okay. In the webinar, they told people that everything that's going on is going to get more and more intense, more chaos, but don't make any major decisions. Now, this was back in November of 2020. Don't make any major decisions for at
18
least
to 24 months.
18 to 24 months, because you won't be able to see the whole picture yet. Okay, just like how this is going to shake out, what Maria was talking about. You won't see the whole thing, and I mean there's all kinds of different many things you're going to see that you don't really understand right now. I don't understand right now. Okay, Ray doesn't understand right now, and we're going to be able to see what it is. So how are you going to see it? You guys get these journals, write it down so you can track what happened along the way. So when you make a critical decision in a year from now, 6 months, 18 months from now, when you actually see the whole thing, you've got it all laid down in chronological order, where you've dated it, you've written it out, how it made you feel, what you realized, and the action that you're going to take. You've got the whole thing laid out. I'll tell you what, you can't miss if you do this. 15-minute a day practice writing it down.
Now, you can't see it when you're in it, and you can't make a decision with everybody coming at you with
No.
their opinions.
Nobody knows right now.
They don't know.
They don't know right now. You're not supposed to know right now. Another thing the guide said is you can't see it because you're in a 3D world.
Right.
Okay, we're moving into the fourth density. We're on the cusp of it right now. And you're moving through it, and it feels very wonky. It feels very uncertain. It's supposed to feel like that. That's what it feels like when you make a massive uh, move. Like this is major for anyone's lifetime, to go from one density to another. We're going to leap, you guys. That's what we're in right now. That's what you're feeling. So be patient with it. Do this, practice this each day. Write in your journal about what's going on with you. Okay?
Okay, speaking of knowing what to do,
Yeah.
Judy Ann has a question based upon today's insight.
Yeah.
How do you balance the soul's need for joy with the human need for practicality? And she gives an example. What I mean is that, what if I wanted to move to the coastline because she loves the ocean?
Yeah.
Okay. But her practical mind says, I should move inland.
Okay.
So how do you balance those two?
Okay. We're going to let the guides talk to you about this. But my first intuitive flash was, you need to go to the ocean. Don't stay there, but go there. Go there and spend some time there to get your mojo back, to get that feeling back that you need to make good decisions from, to be fully who you are. You're not going to stay there, but you're going to go there. Okay, let's see what the guides have to say.
Before you decide to make a move inland or to the ocean, you need to have clarity. The way you gain clarity is through experience. There is nobody's pressure or opinions when you have the experience. Go to the ocean and rent a place for 6 months or a year before you go inland and rent a place for 6 months or a year. Now you have the experience of living in both places. You can read books, watch movies, or travel logs about living on the beach, but until you live on the beach, you haven't had the experience.
That's right. That's right. So you need to do that. However you want to do that. They were just making suggestions where you might want to, if you're footloose and fancy free and you can go where you want to go
If
when
you're
you want
working
to.
from home,
Yeah, and you want to go to the ocean for a while, then go. Don't worry about it. If it's not good for you to be there, guidance will let you know that it's time to get out. Okay? Don't worry. Don't let fear rule your life. Don't let it happen. And yeah, eventually the oceans, the cliffs are going to fall off and it's going to fall into the ocean. Maybe California won't exist anymore. I don't know. But maybe it'll happen, but maybe not in your lifetime. I don't know. You guys, you can't live in fear. You've got to go by what pulls you. Okay, that's guidance.
right?
Okay. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be there forever. If you need to move, if you need to get out of harm's way, especially if you're keeping track of what's going on with you, just 15 minutes a day, you're going to have what you need to know when it's time to move on or stay. You're going to know what to do and when to do it every single time. But you've got to do a little work so you stay tuned in to this guidance that can see what you can't. Okay? Okay. Great session. Tragedies and setbacks. Make sure you get Linda's weekly guided insights and start receiving these, you guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've got just a few announcements, and then we're going to close the session with the guide's closing message for tonight. Okay. Next Tuesday, April 20th, for episode number 279 in Linda's weekly guided, let me go to the right part here. In Linda's weekly guided insights, that's right, April 20th for episode number 279 of Linda's weekly guided insights with me, Ray, and my spirit guides at 6 p.m. Pacific time on my Facebook page, Facebook timeline, and YouTube channel. Just use the search term Linda Deer. In Linda's weekly guided insights, my spirit guides will be talking about proactive or reactive. One just takes longer than the other. The takeaway from next week's episode is you have a choice to be proactive or reactive with your life. Reactive people like to daydream and imagine. Proactive people have a vision for their future and are willing to make the sacrifices to get there. The difference is that one person dreams about it while the other person is living the dream every day to get there. This Thursday, April 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific time on our Ask the Universal Channel private Facebook group, Ask the Universal Channel. The teachers of Ask the Universal Channel will be performing the following. These are the teachers that Ray and I spent 2 years training on how to use Ask the Universal Channel the right way. Okay. Joy's guides said, we will address the subject of putting others before yourself. We want you all to know there are times when this behavior can be detrimental. So putting people before yourself, a lot of people take a lot of pride in that. That may not always be the right thing to be doing. Kathy's guides will discuss the possibility of everyone making the most of their intuition. So you get your intuition, but what are you doing with it? And that's going to be Kathy's guides coming through. And this is amazing, you guys. You're going to be able to see them in action while this information's coming through, okay? And you're going to be able to learn how to do this for yourself. So if you want to join the group, ask to join, go to our private group, Ask the Universal Channel on Facebook, and ask to join. Okay. So if my work helps you guys in any way, tell your like-minded friends about what we do. Take them to my website, have them go right to the website. Right on the homepage, it pretty much explains it all right?
And if you're afraid to tell your friends what we do, then you're into it. They're not your friends.
Well, they probably won't be for long.
No.
I got to say this, you guys. The guides did one insight called
Keep your guidance to yourself.
about the division.
Yep.
About there's going to be a division, and you're gonna have to pick your own. You're gonna have to make a choice. Not right now, but you're gonna have to. You're gonna this next year. To year and a
18
half.
months, yep.
You're gonna know. You're gonna know. It won't feel like a burden. You're gonna know what it is. So in the meantime, keep track of what you're going through, what you're doing, what's happening with you. So when you arrive at that decision, you can refresh. You can go back to your journal entries and you can review what you wrote and go, oh, yeah, I see that. I see how it was leading up to this decision. Oh, I see how they were trying to get through to me there. I see the dream I had. I see that one insight that came to me when I was driving the car, when I was in the shower. I remember that. And I remember that one person who came up to me. I never knew them, never met them before. And they said that one thing to me and I was blown away. So unusual and out of the ordinary. I remember that. And pretty soon, you have no trouble making the decision that's right for you. Okay. But you got to write it down or you won't see it. You won't see it. You'll just have more confusion when you're then forced to make a decision. It'll feel like you're forced to make one instead of feeling like your free will is in good health and capable of making the best decision in your life. Okay. Okay. So, when you read my book Guided, you'll see how I learned this. All right. From the beginning of my life. And we're going to let the guides close the session regarding tragedies and setbacks, where we are in the world right now. And here they go.
It's clarity, what you're seeking. You must realize that you are not who everyone tells you to be. You are who you allow yourself to become. When you finally are able to see clearly, there is no reason to rely on anyone else's pressure or opinion.
Right.
Only when you can do this will you find happiness. But the greatest obstacle to your happiness is listening to everyone's idea that there's a way things in the world should be.
And that's just an opinion. That's pretty weak. Okay. You guys just have to be strong within yourself. You have to learn to trust who you are. This is how you're going to learn who that is. Once you know who this is, you know this person. You like this person. Can you trust this person? But you won't be able to do it until you start writing it down. So follow this and you'll never be lost. We'll see you guys next week.
Stay on the path.
That's right.
Good night, everybody.